Hey, good morning everybody. A lot of people have been talking about this, doing videos and blogs and all that on YouTube and Daily Motion and even places like that. A lot of people have been talking about WWE's Stand Up For WWE campaign. Apparently WWE, from what I've heard watching the first video, Vince McMahon basically says that this is not just about the attacks that are targeted towards his wife Linda because she's running for Senate, but it's also but it's mainly about the attacks targeted towards the company for what they had done in the past. And he had asked the fans to stand up for WWE. Now, it's obvious that the reason this is happening is because, in the eyes of many, is to show. Well, in the eyes of many, or in the eye, well, let's take a look at it this way. In the eyes of 50%, in the 50% of, well, in one half, how do I do this? In the eyes of one majority, is to help show that the WWE is not like what it used to be, and these attacks need to stop. But in the eyes of another majority, it's just a way to show, it's just another way for WWE to clean up, to show it's another way for WWE to say, hey, we've cleaned up our image, but hey, we're also trying to show you that Linda's not a bad person to have in the Senate. A lot of people, like I said, those two majorities, you could look at it from the perspective. But another thing that's been coming out lately is a lot of people there's been a lot of reports. In fact, I have here, oh, got wet a little bit. I have here, it's right here on the PWI Torch app I have. Basically, Michael, one of the things that's really been going on with this whole situation one thing that's going on with this whole situation with the Stand Up For WWE campaign, one of the things I've noticed is it's being targeted, like I said, by the majority that look at it like, oh, WWE's just trying to show that they've cleaned up their act. They're trying to cover up what they did in the past, and they're trying to make a good image for Linda McMahon. That majority is also led by another thing that's really getting sick, that's really getting tiresome. It's really getting tiresome. Chris Benoit's father, Michael Benoit, is coming out and basically blaming the WWE for, well, of course he's blaming them for his son's death, as in the fact that the schedule contributed to it. But he's also saying something that I find completely ridiculous, and anybody like SETV, J-Dubs, Bitternet, you guys could agree with this or not. He's also saying that the WWE, more specifically Vince McMahon, had an idea of what happened over that weekend 3 years ago. Well, let me put it to you like this from a fan's perspective. Had Vince McMahon or the WWE itself known about what happened over the weekend, even before they found out the true details of the situation, they would have still had a tribute show on Monday night, but not the kind of tribute show that I ended up recording, which was more like a highlight package and all that. With Vince McMahon first of all starting off by standing in the ring inside an empty arena. No. They would have had a tribute show sort of similar to what they had for Eddie Guerrero, because everybody would have known, and all the superstars and divas would have said, okay, let's put our differences aside for one night and go out there and give a performance worthy of what Benoit, something that Benoit would have been proud of, right? Right? Well, exactly. That's what they would have done had WWE known about the situation during the weekend, but they didn't. See, they found it. I mean, I mean, Benoit's father just has to look at the tribute show itself, and anybody that's, you know, sided with him on this, anybody that's, you know, sided with him and kind of sided with the person, the candidate that's running for the Connecticut Senate seat on the Democratic side, if they would just watch that tribute, go back and watch that tribute, which apparently, unless you recorded it that night, you can't really get access to anymore. But if they would just go back and watch that, they would realize that everything is legit. Nothing, it's not like, everything's legit. And you could tell that they didn't know about what happened until we did. That's why that's why they didn't have an event that night. That's why they didn't have a live Raw, because of what had happened that day. And nobody was really prepared. I mean, had they known over the weekend, like I said, before finding out the true details of what had happened, then there's no doubt they still would have had a tribute show, but it would have been just like the kind of tribute show that was given to Eddie Guerrero 2 years before. See what I'm saying? They would have done just that. They would have done just that, but yet people still want to, but yet people like Benoit's father want to come out and say these kind of things, and they want to target this whole stand up for WWE stuff. Well, you know what? I'm getting sick and tired of this crap. Okay? Yeah, WWE started up a stand up campaign for the company. So what? So what? What WWE, in my mind, is basically trying to say, in my mind, is they're trying to say, hey, look, we're not like we were 3-4 years ago. We're different. We're different. I'm sure if Dave Meltzer was to sit down with a show like, say, Today, like the Today Show or the morning show on CBS, A Good Morning America, I'm sure if he was to sit down with them and explain the differences about the WWE now and then what it was 3-4 years ago, you would see a difference. I mean, take a look. I mean, just because, I mean, this is the way, I mean, if I was Dave Meltzer, one of the things I would point out is that even though you have superstars on there like a Triple H and a Randy Orton being portrayed the way they are now, yeah, you would automatically think, oh, a wrestling show for mature audiences. You would never suspect that as soon as you watch it, it's a show for all ages because it's got the TV PG-V rating, a TV PG-V rating. You wouldn't suspect that. You wouldn't suspect that, but yet, you wouldn't suspect that because you would see those kind of characters. And two, you would find out that the two people you would associate with a mature wrestling show like a Triple H and a Randy Orton, and excuse me for the bird in the background, he likes a treat, you wouldn't expect that those two outside of the ring would come out and say that now that the fathers, parents, but now that the fathers, that they have to look at what's appropriate for their kids to watch on television, even the stuff they do. And they got to make sure it's age appropriate and appropriate for all families. You wouldn't suspect that. You wouldn't suspect that maybe 4 or 3 years ago, but now you do. And even now, if you're new to the business, you wouldn't. If you're just becoming a fan now, you wouldn't suspect that unless you read the dirt sheets and read online about them and read what they would say in certain interviews. That is why I'm getting sick and tired of this whole, WWE is just clean, this whole target WWE and find a way to, I'm just getting sick and tired of this whole, WWE is bad and, and stuff like that. I'm getting sick of it. Yes, I'm a WWE fan. I've been a WWE fan since they were the WWF. I've been a WWE fan since the days of Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling. I mean, people, that's 25 years plus. But the thing is, what I'm saying is I'm getting sick and tired of this. I mean, yeah, if you're gonna, I mean, yeah, I'm not trying to say that Linda McMahon's campaign is getting targeted because of her past association with the WWE. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to say that it's getting targeted and everybody's giving her bad publicity. Hell, take a look at what's going on here. Jerry Brown's giving Meg Whitman bad publicity here for governor, and the same could be said for Meg Whitman giving Jerry Brown, you know, bad publicity because of the past associations with things, and because of the things that they would say, the past experiences, or whatever, of the mistakes and stuff like that. Yeah, that's common. You know, here's the thing. If you're gonna do that, don't. You know, that's okay. I mean, you got your that's your freedom of speech. You have that option. But guess what? Don't drag it out to where it's going to ruin a wrestling program for families and people. Okay? Don't drag it out. The way I look at it, you want to fight dirty. Don't take a company like WWE, who's known worldwide, and try to tarnish their image just because you want to win an election. If you want to target some of Linda McMahon's past mistakes, target something outside. Target her inexperience, if you will, being in the Senate. Don't drag a wrestling company in. It's kind of like it's like Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. Let's say Jerry Jones someday says, "Oh, I'm going to go run for Senate for the state of Texas." Oh yeah, a lot of people would get behind him, but then you probably have his candidate, whether it's Republican or Democrat, depending on what, you know, position he is, you know, going after him and saying, oh, he doesn't have the inexperience, and oh, he just wants to add to his legacy because he's the owner of the Cowboys, blah, blah, blah. It'd be the same way. I'm sure if, let's say, Donald Trump, people are wondering if Donald Trump is going to run for president in 2 years. Don't think that whoever opposes him, either he's in the Independent Party, Republican Party, or whatever. Don't think whoever opposes him tries to, you know, target and tarnish his image because he's a multi-billionaire. Don't think they're not going to try for that, because they will. They will. And the same could be for Sarah Palin. She tries to, when she goes for the presidency, which everybody's knowing she's going to do. Do you think Obama's Democratic campaign party and whoever, like the Independent campaign party, like say Trump or something, ain't going to go after her and her past and her inexperience and stuff like that, and her mistakes? Of course they will. But they're not going to go out and, you know, like with Jerry Jones and like Donald Trump, they're not going to go out and drag in his corporation or his franchise and the fact that he owns all these different hotels around the country. They're not, I mean, and again, like with Jerry Jones, if he was to run for Senate for Texas, they're not going to come out and drag his Dallas Cowboy franchise out into this. No, they're not going to do that. All they'll do is target, maybe they'll bring in a little bit of that, but mostly what they would do is target the inexperience. Why the Senate, why this guy, I can't think of his name now, is targeting WWE and bringing that into Linda's campaign, bringing that in against Linda McMahon? I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe it's just, as people say, it's just another excuse for WWE to be targeted. I mean, take a look at what they tried to do, and it got overruled. They tried to prevent people from wearing WWE t-shirts or related material to the election in Connecticut. That's almost like taking away your rights to be an American, almost. Basically what I'm saying is I'm just sick and tired of this, and I wish it would end, period. And that's all I'm going to say. Tell me what you think. I'll talk to y'all later.